Investment Forum. 본 포럼은 글로벌 금융위기 이후의 부동산 시장의 주요 이슈, 아시아 태평양 지역 미래 투자 기회라는 세 가지 주제와 함께 Major Development in Energy and Sustainability라는 스페셜 토픽을 바탕으로 진행하겠습니다.
저는 CBRE 코리아를 맡고 있는 김영국입니다. CBRE 코리아가 한국에 부동산 관련 자문을 시작한 지도 벌써 10년이 넘었습니다. 그동안 한국 부동산 시장이 많은 변화가 있었던 것 같습니다. 그 속에서 저희는 여기 참석하신 많은 고객님과 지혜를 찾는 작업을 해왔던 것으로 같습니다. 그동안 경력에 감사하고 앞으로도 많은 지원 부탁드리겠습니다. CBRE는 앞으로 글로벌 선두 업체로서의 자부심과 자신감을 바탕으로 고객 여러분에게 최상의 서비스를 제공해 드릴 것을 다시 한번 약속드리는 바입니다. 다시 한번 귀한 시간을 내어주신 고객 여러분께 감사의 말씀 드립니다. 감사합니다.
Firstly, thank you very much for taking the time to attend the seminar and forum this afternoon. Very much appreciated. We understand everyone's very busy, and we do appreciate the time that you've taken to be here today. So thank you for that, for taking the time to be here today. We very much appreciate the support, and I hope you find the workshop and the forum to be beneficial. Thank you.
And I want to finish on looking at the property markets more closely, and in particular look at where we think the opportunities will be across the various types of involvement that's available in the region. New Zealand, of course, has over 4 million people and is an important property market. And finally, Australia, with almost 22 million people, in fact now it has over 22 million people, is really the economic engine of the region. And it's really the place that I want to focus on mostly this afternoon. This is really the place where we see the greatest opportunities coming from out of the Pacific region. Some other important cities in Australia which are more distant from this area. Places 1,000 people, but it's a very strategic location. Right at the top of the country, at the gateway to Asia. It's also very close to some significant mining projects, the Timor oil project. But it is quite a small and isolated industrial. There's about 110 million square metres of industrial floor space in the country. It represents about 30% of the stock, and office another 30%.
In my presentation, I would like to touch upon the following topics. So, as the general topic of the forum is the influence of the global financial crisis on the commercial real estate markets. So we will see how the financial crisis influenced Russian markets. Then we will discuss the challenges that the market is facing at the moment as a ready-to-move-in space, fully fitted out, sometimes with furniture, was offered on the market with very, very below market rents.
I myself have lived in Vietnam now for 2.5 years, and it's probably been the most exciting but also the most stressful years of my life. It is my aim today to give you a quick overview of the current state of the real estate market, and most importantly to identify some of the opportunities that have presented themselves after the global downturn that caused the crisis, so it was relatively insulated from that. However, it was impacted by falling export and industrial output.
China is a huge country. It has grown by leaps and bounds in the last decade or so. 30 minutes is very, very challenging. I probably would have to rush through some of the slides here, and of course, if you need more information, I'm happy to discuss further with you.
What happened? Let me take a step back and see how things evolve or change in the last 20 years or so. 1978 was the open door policy.
The South is like the East mature, and the West and the Central are all catching up in terms of growth rate, outperforming national average.
Just a point to clarify before we get into the agenda items. We've spoken about some of the other Asian countries, economies, and the real estate investment scenario in these countries. Just would like to highlight, as regards India is concerned, the real estate investment market is only around 3 to 4 years old, where the government allowed foreign direct investment into the though the investment's being allowed, but it's very, very restrictive in nature. It's not that, okay, I can come in today, buy into land, and tomorrow the land price appreciates, and I sell it and go for profits. It doesn't work like that. A lot of capital flowing in the real estate sector. We have almost around 100 plus private equity players and financial institutions around the world.
I'm sure we have heard a lot about green buildings or sustainable design or energy and sustainable buildings in general. Now, what do we mean by that? Now, there can be a lot of different definitions on sustainable or green buildings, but a typical definition can include is the practice of creating and using healthier and more resource efficient models of constructions, renovations, operations, maintenance, and even demolition. We won't go into the details, but under sustainable sites, you can notice that you have to talk about. So here you can talk about smart location and linkage of your town, of your new city, wetland and water body conservation.
본 행사는 해외 부동산 시장, 특히 아시아 퍼시픽의 주요 부동산 시장 상황을 시의성을 가지고 간다는 것을 목적으로 하고 있습니다. 물론 특정 국가를 자세히 디테일하게 설명드리는 것도 의미가 있겠습니다만은 일단 다양한 세계 반 정도의 에리어를 이번 세션을 통해서 커버하려고 노력했습니다. 앞으로 저희 CBRE는 동토의 CBRE로부터 열사의 사하까지 여러분과 함께할 것을 다시 한번 약속드립니다. 감사합니다.